G'day guys, welcome back to another week of building the Vanguard Models gun brig adder. This week we're going to be finishing off the first layer of planking. This still needs a little bit of sanding, but it's just about done. So we'll be going over to the other side. As I said last week, I'm starting to get steps down here. I actually put it down to now having a look at it. It's not only just the fact that it's a bluff bow, so it curves around quite sharply, but we've also got a reasonably sharp upturn at the front, which I probably didn't really take into account. But as this side shows, it can be fixed, which is what we're going to do this week. So what I'm going to be starting with is I've got a couple of planks which I've tapered down to about 50% and put a curve in it. What I'm going to be doing is coming up from the bottom, so I just have to work out the angle it's going to make up. So that's about right. So I'll get us some glue and we'll start putting them on. I'm just going to start off by putting some white glue on the top edge, the bottom edge of the plank, because that's going to be pressing up against the plank below it. As I said last week, I much prefer planking bigger ships. It just seems easier to me for some reason. As I'm guessing once I've done a few of them, I'll get used to it. And then just on the frames, so just get this first plank in place. Oops. I missed everything. hole though is certainly a lot quicker. This one I've already cut it at that angle we need, but it will also need to be trimmed off that way to be level with the plank above it. So that'll be fine. So I'll just get some glue on here. This time, just for the start of it, I'm going to use CA glue. Just so it holds a bit quicker. And once I get back to this bulkhead, we'll go back to the white glue, which I've already put on the edge and on the frames. Hold it a bit till it grabs. I actually got lucky on that one. It'd come out exactly the right length. I usually cut them off a bit further out. We will need a small steeler between those two planks. So I only do 2 to 3 planks at a time, and then I let them dry, and then I do the rest. So I'll let these two dry and then I'll be back. Okay, now that we've met up with those top planks, I'm going back to using full planks again, and I just have to work that out. More of an angle. Okay, I'll get some glue on this plank and then I'll be back. I'm just going to start with putting a bit of CA glue in the front. And the rest of it, got the white glue on there as well as on the frames. And it should fit exactly between those two planks. Okay, so the next couple of planks will start filling in that gap, and it should be pretty well exact. Close to it. We won't have to fill too much there. So I'll get the next plank ready. Okay, I completely missed filming putting in this plank back to here. So seeing the last plank is going to be exactly the same, I'll film that one instead. So I'm actually going to give this a little while to set, and then I'll come back for that one. Okay, this one I'm going to use one plank of wood to complete it. So just line it up as far back as you need, and then get my arm out of the way. Find the point where the full plank fits within that gap. Double check it. So that's about the right spot. So I'm just going to cut that from that point down to a point, and then all going well, it should fit. Okay, so we'll just try fitting that in place. That's fine. Now just bring the plank forward. Now we're going to have a gap here because that's my fault, I totally underestimated this bow. So as you can see, we're going to have that slight opening there, and that's purely because I tapered incorrectly, so it didn't come up nice and straight. But we'll fill that quite easily with a piece of wood, and then after it's sanded we'll putty what we need to. So first thing we need to do here is work out where we need to should be right. So I just need to cut between those 2 points. Okay, so we'll just check how that fits in. That looks pretty good. Follow the plank back just to make sure it's alright at the other end. And that all fits in as well. So I'll get some glue on here and then we'll put that plank on. Okay, put glue on both edges. Start with putting it, oops, put that upside down. Hang on, what am I doing? That's better. last little piece. I don't have room to put a nail through it because it's so small, but it's in there firmly enough that once the glue sets, that'll be fine. So what we've got to do is fill in this little piece just here. Okay, so I've just found an offcut that I've got that actually slides in there really well. So all I really have to do is work out where we've got to cut it off. Oops. Okay, this needs to be filed down a little. Can take a few goes. Better off just taking off a little at a time rather than cutting too much at the beginning. Okay, so that's going to be fine. This one I might just put a little bit of CA in there just so it holds. Straight away. It's a bit too small to be trying to get nails in there. Then that just fills up that small gap we had. Now the back of the ship. Again, I'm just trying a plank I've got over. Not quite. I want it to go in a little bit further. Oops. Oops, wrong one. fine. Once it's sanded, won't be a problem. So I'm going to leave this to dry, and then we're going to come back and start. We'll get the worst of it sanded back. We'll use some putty and then sand it again, and just gradually get it smoother and smoother as we have on the other side. Okay, now we're ready to start sanding this back. I've pulled out all the nails on here and just trimmed up that back edge so it's close. I'm going to be starting off using a 80 grit sandpaper, then I'll go to a 120 and then finish off with this 400 grit sponge, which is good for getting around edges because it bends to the shape of the hull. And then in between I will be using putty where we need it, because particularly around here we will end up with some because of the steps, so it will need a bit of putty in there because there will be gaps. But slowly getting there. We're not actually creating as many gaps from sanding as what I thought we might have. It's actually coming out quite well through there. There will be some putty there, but overall not a huge amount. So I'll get this done in the 80 grit because it's going to be quite boring to watch, and then when I come back we'll add the putty, let that dry, and then we'll go again with the 120 grit. Okay, I've sanded that with the 400, and I've just got some wood putty. I'm going to pull up into what gaps there are. This one I don't know whether you can get outside of Australia. It's called Timbermate, and it comes in different colours. So this one is pine, but you can also get sapele and walnut and all sorts. It also sets reasonably quickly. so I'm going to leave that to dry. Let's see something. Yes, as I said, I'll leave this to dry, and then we're going to go over it again with 120 grit paper. Okay, all that putty's dried, so I've switched to a 120 grit sandpaper. We may have to putty more than once. Let's see how it goes. Okay, so that's getting there. I'll keep sanding. Looks like we may get a couple of little spots that'll need some more putty in there, but overall it's coming out quite well. So I'll keep going with this sanding and then I'll come back. Okay, that bit of putty on there is dried. I'm now just going to switch to a 800 grit sponge, which is good for following the curves on the chip. Okay, so I'll give that a little bit more of the sand off camera and then I'll be back. Okay, this side of the ship is now planked. And we've got a nice surface to apply the second layer to. Actually, looking at that angle, I'll probably use a little bit more just here. So I'll do that off camera anyway. Then it'll come up nice and smooth. As I said, even with the steps there, we managed to get that nice and flat. So we'll take a look and see what we'll be doing in the next video. Okay, looking forward to the next video, next part of the build. We're going to be adding this stern piece at the rear here, as well as the keel will be put on the ship. We've also got the outer bulwark to put on, which I believe we only clamp in place to give us a mark for where we start the second layer of planking, and then we take that off once the second layer is done, paint it, and then we glue this piece on, and then we'll be doing the second layer of planking, which will be easier after that first layer, because now I believe what I need to do to get a nice even front around that bow. So that'll be a bit of work then. So thanks for joining me and hope to see you next time. Cheers.